When I was 9, my dad started dating a new girl, and that put a strain on our relationship, a pretty heavy strain actually, because it had always just been him and I, and then now all of a sudden there was all these new people in our lives, and that was really tough for me. On one Christmas Eve, her son and I had an encounter kind of late at night, and he said some pretty inappropriate things to me that made me feel extremely uncomfortable, and that really, really shook me. I told my mom that night. I texted her and she told me she couldn't come get me because it was too late and my dad was gonna know something was up. I texted my best friend at the time and she did her best to support me and try to help me through it, but there was nothing really anyone could do. And then I didn't tell my dad on the day of Christmas because I didn't want to ruin his Christmas, and I waited to tell him until the day after, and he took it really hard. So he told his girlfriend, and she accused me of lying, and she was like, you know, my son can do no wrong, and your daughter's lying for attention or whatever. And around 5 days later, she kicked us out of the house. I've been rejected by multiple people in my life, and it's really, really hard to try to be at peace with it and forgive other people. But as you focus your eyes on God more, you realize that God's more important, and you should really only care about what He thinks of you, and He thinks you're perfect because He made you. As I grew closer with God, I got farther from all my friends except for one or two. They drank and they smoked and they were having sex, and I couldn't relate with them, and I couldn't accept their offers to do anything because everything that they wanted me to go out and do, it wasn't godly and it wasn't what I wanted to do either. And so I did lose friends because of that, and that was really hard for me because I felt alone, and that's a terrible feeling. My battle with anxiety began to grow, and it got to the point where I was having anxiety attacks about going to school pretty much every single day. It was really, really bad, and it's like kind of like it brings up more anxiety to talk about. My mom decided to put me in Christian counseling for my anxiety, and ultimately through that I built my relationship back up with God. My dad and I decided to go back to church, and after trying a few different churches, we decided to go back to Grace. Before coming back to Grace, both my dad and I were worried about how we would be received from the church and from the people. And I was worried about what people might think of me being the kid from the family that left Grace. Walking into Grace, I felt like I was at home from the moment I walked in the door, and I felt like I fit in, which was a feeling I hadn't felt in a really long time. The first message we heard, that one was impactful just because it was coming from not having heard the gospel in so long. And then I think just my small group at Altitude, they've always been there for me. They make you feel safe and loved, and they make it so easy to open up. Coming to Altitude, I found friends who were passionate about the Lord, and that really helped me because I felt like I wasn't alone any longer. It's important for young people to go to church because it allows a place for everyone to be vulnerable, and we act like everything's fine. We act like our lives are perfect, and inside we're all hurting. Church allows you to take your mask off and to just be yourself. It allows people to be vulnerable even if they're not willing to be vulnerable with anyone else besides God. It's so cool to see the Holy Spirit living inside of you and working through you and empowering you. Grace Church, I challenge you this week to be unshakable in a shaky world. Be like Daniel. And if you're in high school, I want to see you at altitude on Wednesday, so you better be there. You can look for me, I'll be there. And if you need someone to talk to, then you have me.